In the bustling town of ABA, where the streets were alive with traders calling out their prices, children running barefoot, and women balancing baskets of plantains and peppers on their heads, there lived a young girl named Amara. Her beauty was a kind that made elders shake their heads in awe, for she carried not just the glow of youth, but the dignity of her ancestors. Her skin was smooth and radiant like polished mahogany, her eyes dark pools that seemed to hold secrets of both joy and sorrow, and her laughter, when it escaped her lips, echoed like music across the dusty courtyards. Yet, for all her beauty, her heart was soft, tender, and stubbornly loyal. Amara's family was well-to-do. Her father, Chief Okri, was one of the wealthiest men in the town. He owned large tracts of farmland, shops in the city center, and a fleet of vehicles that carried goods to faraway markets. Her mother, Madame Ifioma, was known for her stern tongue and expensive tastes. Together, they raised Amara and her two elder brothers in privilege, sending them to the best schools and ensuring they wore the finest lace and Ankara fabrics imported from Lagos. Amara, however, had grown restless with the life of wealth. The fancy dresses and city trips didn't impress her as much as the quiet evenings spent under the mango tree in her grandmother's village, listening to folk tales about trickster tortoises and wise kings. It was in that village, far from the city's noise, that she met Chaik. He was a young man of quiet strength, broad-shouldered, with skin darkened by long days in the sun, and eyes that seemed to speak even when his mouth stayed closed. Chaik was not rich. Everyone knew that. He was an orphan raised by his aging uncle, and he worked odd jobs, fetching water for traders, carrying sacks of yams, fixing broken farm tools. Many dismissed him as just another poor village boy who would never rise beyond his station. But Amara saw something else. She saw his humility when he bent to help old women carry firewood, the way he laughed gently with children, the way his hands, though calloused, touched her like she was made of glass. Their love blossomed quietly. It began with casual greetings at the stream, where Amara would go to fetch water, even though her family had indoor plumbing back in town. Then it grew into long conversations while walking home from the market. Soon, stolen glances became held gazes, and before long, their hearts were bound tighter than the braids in Amara's hair. The villagers whispered about them. Some said it was pure foolishness. What business did the daughter of a wealthy chief have with a pauper? Others smiled knowingly, recalling how love often bloomed where pride said it should not. But no one dared tell Amara's parents, for Madame Ifioma's temper was a storm few could withstand. When Amara's father found out, the storm did not wait. Chief Okri summoned his daughter one evening to the family compound. His voice was heavy, his staff of office clutched in one hand as he paced. "Amara," he thundered, "I have heard shameful things. Is it true that you have been lowering yourself to walk hand in hand with that boy? That boy who owns nothing but his ragged clothes? Have I not given you everything? Do you wish to throw away the dignity of this family?" Amara's heart pounded, but she stood her ground. "Papa," she whispered, her voice trembling yet firm, "Chaik may not have riches, but he has a heart. He loves me truly, and I love him. What is wealth if there is no peace in the home? What is gold if the heart is empty?" Her words struck her father like an insult. Madame Ifioma gasped dramatically, placing her hand on her chest as though her daughter had stabbed her. "TMO, has the devil possessed you? You will marry into a family of status. You will not disgrace us by chasing love with a nobody." But Amara, stubborn as the wind that bends no tree, refused to bend. She continued to see Chaik in secret, sneaking out to meet him beneath the old Irako tree at the edge of the village. There, they whispered dreams of the future. Chaik, though poor, promised her love without end. "Amara," he said, his rough hands holding hers, "I may not have wealth now, but I will protect you with everything in me. Together, we will build our life, even if we start with nothing but sand beneath our feet." Months turned into a year, and soon Amara declared her intention to marry Chaik. Her family erupted. Her brothers laughed cruelly, mocking Chaik as the water boy. Madame Ifioma swore she would disown her. Chief Okri warned he would cut her off from every inheritance. But Amara, fearless in love, said, "I would rather be poor with Chaik than rich with a man I do not love." The day of the wedding arrived, and it was like no other. Word spread quickly through the village and beyond. Some came to witness the scandal, to laugh as the daughter of a wealthy chief tied herself to a pauper. Others came out of curiosity, eager to see how bold the young lovers were. The village square was decorated with palm fronds and white cloth. Drummers beat their talking drums. Griots sang songs of love and defiance, and the scent of jollof rice and goat stew filled the air. The bride glowed in her white lace gown, her head wrapped in golden gelly, her beauty undeniable. Chaik wore a simple white agbada, crisp and clean, though far humbler than what her family might have expected. When Amara's parent arrived, they sat stiffly in their chairs, their faces dark with disappointment. Chief Okri refused to smile, and Madame Ifioma muttered curses under her breath, her eyes burning holes into her daughter. The ceremony began, and though the air was festive, a tension lingered, like a storm cloud waiting to break. At the moment when the groom was asked to speak, Chaik stepped forward. His eyes met Amara's, full of love, and then turned to the crowd. A hush fell over the square. Even the drummers quieted their hands. Chaik cleared his throat, his voice deep and steady. "Many of you know me as the poor boy," he began, his words carrying across the crowd. "You have called me names. You have laughed at me. You have told Amara she is foolish for choosing me. Today, I want to tell you something I have carried in my heart for years. I may not have riches in your eyes, but I am not what you think." The villagers leaned closer, whispers spreading. Chief Okri raised an eyebrow, curious despite himself. Chaik reached into his agbada and pulled out a folded document. He held it high for all to see. "This," he said, "is the deed to the land beneath your feet. For years, I have kept quiet, living humbly while you mocked me. But the truth is, my late father left me this land. Every farm you till, every shop you build, every house you sleep in rests on the soil that belongs to me." Gasps filled the air. The crowd erupted in shock. Some clutched their heads, others muttered, "Chieneni, it cannot be." Chief Okri's jaw dropped, and Madame Ifioma nearly fainted, her wrapper slipping as she struggled to stand. Amara's eyes widened, her heart pounding. She had loved Chaik for his heart, never for his wealth, and here he was, revealing that he had always held the true power. The drummers struck their drums again, this time louder, faster, echoing the heartbeat of the crowd. Chaik turned to Amara, his face softening. "I did not tell you before, because I wanted you to love me for me, not for land or wealth. And now, on this day, I give you not just my love, but my land, my life, my everything." Tears streamed down Amara's face. She flung herself into his arms, her sobs drowned by the cheers of the crowd. Some cried in joy, others in shame for ever mocking him. Chief Okri sat frozen, his pride shattered, his authority shaken. His daughter had chosen wisely after all. The wedding that was meant to be a scandal became a legend. From that day forward, the story of Amara and Chaik spread across towns and cities, told by griots and markets, whispered by lovers beneath moonlit skies, and remembered by elders as proof that love, though tested by pride and poverty, could rise higher than gold. The morning after the wedding was unlike any morning the village had known. The cock crowed as always, the sun rose gently across the fields, but the air carried a weight of whispers. From the marketplace to the farms, from the palm wine joints to the church steps, everyone spoke of one thing: Chaik, the poor boy who had revealed himself as a landowner of their world. Women selling akra in the market shook their heads in disbelief. Men gathered under the udala trees slapped their thighs in regret, murmuring about how they once mocked him. Children, with wide, curious eyes, pointed whenever he passed, whispering in awe, "That is the man who owns all the land." Amara, though overwhelmed, walked proudly beside her husband. Her hands, adorned with golden bangles, were clasped firmly in his, and her smile was a blend of joy and vindication. For the first time, she felt that her defiance had borne fruit. Yet, behind her joy lay a storm she knew too well. Her parents' bitterness had not ended with the wedding day shock. It had only shifted into something darker, something that would test her love even more than poverty ever had. Chief Okri refused to speak to her for weeks. Whenever his daughter's name was mentioned, he grunted and waved his hand dismissively, his pride wounded to its core. Madame Iphioma, still burning from humiliation, refused to step foot in Amara's new home. "She has made her bed," she would sneer, her voice dripping with disdain. "Let her lie in it." Her brothers, who once walked with arrogance in the town, now faced whispers and laughter behind their backs. Sons of the chief whose land belongs to his son-in-law, the people taunted. It was unbearable for them, and they cursed Amara in secret for choosing love over obedience. But Amara did not let their scorn break her spirit. She focused instead on her new life with Chaik. Their home, a modest clay house on the edge of the village, became a sanctuary of laughter and love. At dawn, Chaik rose early to oversee the tenants who farmed the land. Farmers now came humbly, paying their rents and seeking his permission before expanding their fields. Traders who once dismissed him now bowed respectfully, knowing his word carried the weight of ownership. Yet Chaik remained humble, never flaunting his power. He greeted everyone warmly, shared palm wine with old men, and gave freely to widows and orphans. His humility baffled those who expected him to become arrogant. Amara, too, adjusted her new role as the wife of a man both feared and respected. She helped women at the stream, still fetched water with them despite having a private well, and never turned her back on her roots. But in the quiet of their nights, when the moon bathed their compound in silver light, she confided her fears to Chaik. "My love," she whispered, her head resting on his chest. "What if my family never forgives me? What if they try to harm you because of their pride?" Chaik kissed her forehead softly and answered, "Amara, love stronger than pride will outlast any storm. If your family cannot see it now, time will open their eyes. Until then, we live, we laugh, we love." But the storm came sooner than they expected. One afternoon, Chief Okri, in his pride, gathered village elders. His voice thundered as he declared, "It is an abomination for land to be owned by one so unworthy. This boy hid his wealth like a thief. How can we trust him to lead us? He tricked my daughter into marriage." The elders listened in silence, torn between loyalty to their chief and the undeniable fact that Chaik was now the rightful landowner. Some murmured agreement. Others shook their heads. An elder woman, Mamangozi, rose and silenced them with her cane. "Chief," she said sternly, "pride does not till the soil. The land does not care whose hand holds the deed. The boy you despise fed the hungry when he had nothing. Now that we know his true worth, must we punish him for his humility? Let the young live their lives. Do not let bitterness turn your name to ash." Her words hung heavy in the air, but Chief Okri's heart remained hard. He left the gathering, his robe swaying angrily, his jaw clenched. In his compound that evening, he swore before his household, "I will never bow to that boy. He may own the soil, but he will never own my respect." Meanwhile, life for Amara and Chaik blossomed in unexpected ways. A year passed, and Amara bore their first child, a son. The birth was celebrated across the village. Drums echoed into the night, women danced, and palm wine flowed freely. Chaik named him Obinna, meaning father's heart. Holding his son, Chaik felt a new fire burn within him. One not of pride, but of legacy. "My son will never know the hunger I knew," he vowed. Amara, exhausted but glowing, whispered, "And he will know love greater than any riches." Yet even in joy, shadows lingered. Amara's mother, upon hearing of the birth, scoffed bitterly. "So she has given him a son. Let us see if love can buy respect." Her words poisoned the ears of her sons, Amara's brothers. They grew restless, envious, and angry. No longer were they heirs to vast lands. No longer could they boast in gatherings. Their bitterness grew into a dangerous resolve. "We will take back what should be ours," they whispered in secret, unaware of the plots against him. Chaik expanded his generosity. He built a school on the land, ensuring children from poor families could learn without fees. He repaired the village road, using his money to hire workers who once mocked him. He even provided seeds and tools for farmers, refusing high rents. His reputation soared. In the city, traders spoke of him as a man who turned shame into strength. Women prayed that their daughters would find husbands like him. Amara, walking beside him at festivals, became a symbol of loyalty and love, her defiance now praised as wisdom. Still, the wound with her family remained raw. One evening, Amara, carrying her son on her hip, gathered courage and visited her father's compound. She knelt before him, tears streaming. "Papa," she pleaded, "I beg you, let go of this anger. Come see your grandson. He carries your blood as much as mine. Must we live as enemies when love has given us new life?" Chief Oakery looked at her long and hard, his face a mass of stone. Slowly, he leaned on his staff, his voice cold. "Amara, you chose him over us. You humiliated me before the whole village. I will not eat your food. I will not carry your child. I will not call that man my son. Leave before my anger spills." Amara's heart broke anew. She stood, clutching her baby, her tears wetting the earth. Behind her, her brothers watched, their eyes hard, their fists clenched. She left in silence, but the pain followed her home like a shadow. Chaik comforted her as best he could, whispering words of strength. "The tree that stands firm in the storm will see the sun again," he told her. But even he knew that pride as deep as Chief Oakery's was not easily uprooted. He feared not just rejection, but the poison of revenge. And indeed, revenge brewed. Amara's brothers began stirring trouble among tenants. They spread rumors that Chaik's deed was forged, that he had stolen it from their father. Some tenants hesitated to pay rents, fearing future disputes. Markets buzzed with whispers, doubting Chaik's legitimacy. Though Chaik remained calm, the pressure mounted. Amara watched her husband shoulder the weight, his back straight but his eyes weary. At night, she prayed for peace, her hands clutching her child, her heart begging for reconciliation that seemed impossible. One fateful evening, as the harmattan winds blew dust across the village, Chaik was returning from the fields. Suddenly, he was ambushed by men. They beat him, shouting, "Thief! Fraud! You do not deserve this land." Though bloodied, he did not fight back, recognizing in their voices the anger of Amara's brothers. They left him battered on the road, warning, "Leave, or worse will come." When Amara found him, her scream pierced the night. She tended his wounds with trembling hands, her tears mixing with the herbs she applied. "Why must they hate you so? Why must they hate me so?" she wept. Chaik held her hand weakly, whispering, "Because pride is a fire, my love, and fire does not rest until it has consumed everything." The village buzzed with outrage at the attack. Many condemned it. Others remained silent in fear of the chief's wrath. But Chaik, though bruised, refused to retaliate. "If we fight with hate, we become what they are," he told Amara. Yet deep within him, a seed of resolve grew. He would not let his son inherit enmity and fear. He would not let his family's pride destroy the peace he worked for. And so, the tale of love turned into a tale of struggle, not against poverty, but against the weight of family pride, betrayal, and vengeance. Amara stood at the heart of it, torn between the man she loved and the family that bore her. The land beneath their feet, once a symbol of triumph, had become the battlefield of hearts too proud to bend. The sound of drums echoed faintly in the distance as evening approached, the rhythm carrying a mix of joy and sorrow through the warm African air. In the small town, people whispered about the unexpected revelation that had shaken the entire community. Chijioke, the so-called poor boy whom Ada had chosen against her family's wishes, was in fact a hidden owner of vast lands that stretched farther than many had ever walked. The truth had stunned even those who mocked him, and though some tried to swallow their envy, others let their tongues wag freely. At Ada's family compound, the atmosphere was heavy. Her mother, Ngozi, sat under the large mango tree with her wrapper tied loosely around her waist. She did not eat, she barely spoke. Her heart was torn between shame and guilt. She had judged the boy by the worn slippers on his feet, by the way he carried firewood on his back, by the little house he lived in on the edge of the village. But now, he stood taller than all of them, not because of wealth alone, but because of dignity and quiet strength. Her father, Chief Odenigbo, paced the veranda restlessly. Pride and anger fought inside him like warriors refusing to back down. He had called Ada stubborn, disobedient, even foolish, for refusing the wealthy suitors he had paraded before her. But today, before the eyes of the entire village, his authority was tested. How could she know? When even I did not, he muttered under his breath, his voice thick with frustration. Meanwhile, in Chijioke's small yard, laughter and celebration filled the air. Women pounded yam with rhythmic determination, the pestles rising and falling like the beat of drums. The sweet aroma of egusi soup drifted around, mingling with roasted goat meat prepared for the feast. Children ran about, their voices filling the night sky like tiny bells. The celebration was not just for a marriage. It was for a victory, for the vindication of love that had endured ridicule. Ada sat quietly on a wooden bench beside her husband, still trying to process everything. "Chijioke," she whispered softly, her eyes searching his face. "Why didn't you tell me? Why hide something so great?" He turned to her, his eyes steady, his voice calm. "Because, Ada, my love, I want to be sure you chose me, not my land, not my wealth. Too many people wear masks. I needed to see if your heart could love me when I had nothing to show the world." His words struck her heart like thunder rolling across the sky. Tears filled her eyes, not of sorrow but of overwhelming gratitude. She held his hand tightly, feeling the strength in his calloused palms, the same hands that once carried firewood but now carried her future. But not everyone rejoiced. Among the villagers, jealousy brewed like bitter herbs. Obinna, a childhood friend of Ada who once sought her hand, could not contain his bitterness. He sat with a group of young men near the palm wine tapper's shed, his voice sharp with envy. So this is the trick he played, pretending to be poor all along. And now everyone worships him as if he is a king. But let us see how long this will last. His words dripped with malice, and those friends laughed. Their laughter held unease. They knew envy could breed danger seeds. As night deepened, the village square glowed with lanterns. Elders gathered to discuss what had happened, their voices low but heavy. Some praised Chijioke's wisdom, calling him a man of foresight. Others frowned, saying it was deceitful to hide wealth from the community. In African tradition, transparency about family and heritage was important, and Chijioke's secrecy had unsettled some hearts. Yet, when weighed against the love he and Ada shared, most found their judgment softened. In the quiet of their new life together, Ada and Chijioke lay under the soft light of a kerosene lamp. He told her stories of how his father, before passing away, had entrusted him with the land and taught him to keep his wealth hidden until the right time. "Not all riches are meant to be displayed, Ada," he said gently. "Some must be guarded, so that they are not stolen by greedy hands." Ada listened, her heart swelling with respect. She thought of her family, of the sharp words and tears that had preceded their wedding. She wondered if time would heal the wounds between them, or if pride would keep them apart forever. For though she was happy in her husband's arms, a part of her longed for reconciliation, for her parents to see the truth of her choice. The following days brought change. Some villagers who once mocked Chijioke now approached him with forced smiles, offering greetings laced with hidden motives. They sought favors, land, opportunities. But Chijioke, wise beyond his years, treated them with calm detachment. He remembered their laughter when he walked barefoot to the stream, and though he bore no hatred, he did not forget. Ada, however, faced her own trials. Women whispered behind her back, accusing her of luck rather than loyalty. She didn't marry him for love, some said bitterly. She just stumbled into wealth. But Ada held her head high, for she knew the night she had cried for him, the time she had defended him even against her own father. Love had carried her here, not greed. One evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple, Ada returned to her parents' house. Her mother was sweeping the compound, her face weary but softened by time. "Mama," Ada said gently, her voice trembling, "I miss you. I want peace between us." Ngozi paused, leaning on her broom, her eyes filled with tears as she looked at her daughter. Slowly, she reached out and pulled Ada into her arms. "My child," she whispered, "I was blind. Forgive me. A mother should see with her heart, not her pride." But Chief Odenigbo was not so easily moved. He sat silently on his wooden chair, his face unreadable. "You disobeyed me," he said firmly. "You brought shame to my name." Ada knelt before him, her voice shaking. "Papa, I did not mean to shame you. I only follow my heart. And now you see, Chijioke is not the poor boy you thought him to be. He is a man of honor, a man who loves me. Does that not count for something?" The chief remained silent for a long moment. The air between them was thick with tension. Finally, he sighed deeply, his pride battling with the undeniable truth before him. Though he did not embrace her, his silence spoke louder than words. He was beginning to yield, even if his pride would not yet allow him to show it. And so, the tale of Ada and Chijioke deepened. Not just a love story, but a reflection of community where pride, envy, and tradition clashed with hope, resilience, and love's quiet power. Their journey was far from over, for even as happiness blossomed in their home, shadows of jealousy and betrayal lingered at the edge of the village, waiting for the right moment to strike. The weeks after Ada and Chijioke's wedding felt like a whirlwind of emotions, both for the couple and for the village. Love blossomed inside their home like a baobab tree, growing strong roots, yet outside their walls, whispers of jealousy and resentment stirred in the wind. The revelation that the so-called poor boy on the very land their feet walked upon had shifted power, and power never changes hands without consequences. Obinna, the childhood friend who once sought Ada's hand, grew restless. He could not bear the way people now spoke of Chijioke with respect, the way young men looked up to him, the way Ada's smile radiated with pride. Envy consumed him like a raging fire, and he began plotting ways to humiliate Chijioke. One night, while drinking palm wine under the moonlight, he told his companions, "We must remind him that wealth cannot erase his past. He was still a poor boy once, and we will make him taste the dust of shame again." His companions, half drunk, laughed nervously, but Obinna's eyes burned with a dangerous glint. Meanwhile, Ada struggled to mend the strained relationship with her father. Chief Onigbo's pride remained a wall she could not yet climb. He attended village meetings with a stony face, refusing to acknowledge his son-in-law's growing influence. But inside his heart, shame battled regret. He had rejected a man of substance, blinded by the glitter of superficial wealth. One afternoon, a land dispute broke out between two neighboring families. They gathered before the elders to settle the matter. To everyone's surprise, the dispute was about a portion of land that actually belonged to Chijioke's inheritance. The elders turned to him, seeking his decision. Obinna, who was present, saw his chance. This is why one must never hide wealth. Obinna declared loudly before the crowd, "What kind of man keeps such secrets from his own people? Can we trust a man who deceived even his own wife until their wedding day?" The crowd erupted with murmurs. Some nodded, others frowned. Ada felt her chest tighten. She wanted to rise and defend her husband, but Chijioke lifted his hand calmly. "I kept my father's wish," he said with quiet strength. "He taught me that true wealth is not what people see, but what one does with it. If you call it deceit, then let my actions show you otherwise. This land will serve the people. The families disputing here shall share its use equally." His words silenced the crowd. Even those who doubted him could not deny his fairness. But Obinna's face twisted with rage. He had wanted to stain Chijioke's honor. Yet instead, Chijioke rose higher in respect. That night, Ada wept quietly in their room. "Why do they hate you so, my husband? Why can they not see the man I see?" Chijioke wrapped his arms around her, his voice tender. "Jealousy is a shadow, Ada. It follows light wherever it shines. We must keep shining, even if the shadow grows darker." But the shadow soon struck harder. A week later, their goats were poisoned. The cassava farm Chijioke had cultivated with villagers mysteriously caught fire. Whispers spread that someone wanted to ruin him, but no one dared name the culprit. Chijioke bore it all with patience, but Ada could feel the storm rising. Finally, one night, Obinna confronted Ada near the stream. His eyes were wild, his words bitter. "You were supposed to be mine, Ada. Do you not see? He is a thief of hearts, of land, of respect. He stole everything that should have been mine." Ada stood tall, her voice firm despite her fear. "Obinna, I chose love, not greed. Do not shame yourself further. The man you envy is everything you are not, kind, patient, true. Leave us in peace." But Obinna's anger boiled over. "If I cannot appease, then neither will he," he shouted. storming away into the night. The next morning, the entire village gathered in shock. Obina had gone to the chief's compound and accused Chijioke of using charms and deceit to win Ada's love and claim land. Such accusations were serious, for in African traditions, the mere suggestion of witchcraft could destroy a man's reputation. Chief Odenigbo was forced to sit as an elder and hear the case. Ada's heart pounded as she knelt before her father. "Papa, do not let lies destroy truth. You know Chijioke's heart. You know mine. Would you rather listen to envy than to your daughter's tears?" The chief looked at her, and for the first time his hard expression softened. His gaze shifted to Chijioke, who stood tall and unafraid. "I have doubted you," he admitted slowly, "but today I see more clearly. A man who hides well for pride is dangerous, but a man who hides it for wisdom is honorable. You have proven yourself with fairness, even when mocked. I cannot allow envy to bury justice." The verdict was clear. Obina was shamed before the people, his false accusations rejected. His own family, embarrassed by his envy, withdrew from him. He left the gathering with his head bowed, his bitterness consuming him. For Chijioke and Ada, the day was bittersweet. Their love had survived trials, but scars remained. Yet in the weeks that followed, something beautiful began to grow. Chief Odenigbo, humbled by the events, slowly reconciled with his daughter and son-in-law. He visited their home, sharing kola nuts, his voice carrying the weight of peace. A father's pride is heavy, but heavier still is the loss of a daughter's love. "Ada, forgive me. Chijioke, forgive my blindness. From today, let this family be one again." Tears filled Ada's eyes as she embraced her father. Chijioke bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Papa. Wealth may build walls, but love builds bridges." And so, the story of Ada and Chijioke became a tale that would be told for generations. A story of love tested by pride, of envy defeated by truth, of a girl who defied tradition and found not only a husband but a man of honor. Their marriage became a symbol of hope, a reminder that true wealth lies not in what one owns, but in the heart that loves without condition. The land Chijioke inherited was no longer just property. It became a legacy of community. He opened it for farming cooperatives, helped widows cultivate cassava, and ensured no child went hungry during planting season. Ada stood beside him, her strength as radiant as the African sun. Together, they turned jealousy into respect, hatred into forgiveness, and despair into hope. The drums that once echoed with whispers of doubt now beat with songs of celebration. And whenever young lovers in the village faced resistance, elders would smile and say, "Remember Ada and Chijioke. Love is stronger than pride. Love is richer than gold."